Hello, BookTube, it's Amy. I'm back again with The Anatomy of Bibliomania by Holbrook Jackson. Today we are embarking on part 2 of their morphology and dimensions, beginning with a section titled A Glance at Their Anatomy, here on page 41 of my edition. It is not necessary to do more than point at the anatomy of books themselves, since their physical constituents, except in the matter of form and appearance, and then from the point of view of taste alone, have no considerable or definite concern with bibliomania, either in its cause or cure. The parts of its subject which present themselves to my view in so much as they serve to nutrition or generation of the disease will be revealed in their place, and you that are readers in the meantime must be content with a running account of the physical parts as a preparative to the exposition of those spiritual and intellectual excellencies which are the substance of succeeding sections of this treatise. Of the parts of a book, there are two main divisions, the outward and the inward. The chief outward parts are situate forward and backward, for they constitute the membrane or skin, whose office is to clothe or bind the rest for the protection of the inward and more delicate and perishable parts. They are of a firm or limp consistency, according as they are composed of boards of wood, as in old times, or, in the manner of today, of stout cards fashioned out of pulped wood, straw, or hemp. There are also limp bindings fashioned out of paper or boards of lighter weight. And as the binding is the membrane or epidermis of the book itself, so the boards have a skin for their own protection, which is often the subject of decoration, like the tattooing of the skins of primitive peoples. But of this I discourse apart, and shall here only recite the farther parts as sides, back, spine, doublers, panels, bands, joints, and edges, with their various letterings, toolings, gildings, pigmentations, labels, clasps, and finally wrappers or dust jackets for the protection of the cover proper during the transit of the book from the publisher's office through the shop to the reader. The inward parts comprise paper and print. The paper is the body of the book and may be thin or thick according to purpose and ultimate form, whether that form is to be slim or fat, extended or concentrate. Papers vary in size, consistency, and color. The sizes of the sheets are named variously as royal, imperial, foolscap, etc. And the book is designate by the number of folds made in the original state of the paper, called a sheet, as folio, duodecimo, octavo, quarto, which make up the leaves, each side of which is a page. The consistency or character of the paper is rough or smooth, also, as I have said, thick or thin, laid or wove, watermarked with semi-transparent lines or devices, straight or deckled edges, and fine or coarse in quality, as it is made of pulped straw, wood, sisal linen rags, or of old and used paper, as shoddy is composed of old and worn cloth. The sheets are printed and then folded in gatherings or quires, which in turn are sewn together by the binder, thus constituting the body or the inward form of the book proper. Typographically considered, a book is a world in itself, with a long history of varying methods and tastes, a complex technique, and an unbroken tradition from the days of the scribes, who worked laboriously with stylus or pen, through those of the printer who designed and printed his pages, to those of the mechanized compositor. Goodness, let's start that sentence over. Typographically considered, a book is a world in itself with a long history of varying methods and tastes, a complex technique, and an unbroken tradition from the days of the scribes, who worked laboriously with stylus or pen, through those of the printer who designed and printed his pages, to those of the mechanized compositor of today who cannot design, working out the designs of the typographer who cannot print. Every type has its own character and a range of sizes, and each printed page its particularities of design and layout, governing and making of a fair reading surface, and the whole as hedged about with technicalities expressed in their own jargon, that I shall leave it alone, and would only name these esoteric affairs to bring forward at the outset some general idea of the complexities upon which a book is built, as a preliminary, or the ideas of biobibliography to be unfolded. And to give you a taste, that was 2 sentences, since I paused there and started over. 2 very long sentences riddled with commas. So it is a very rich writing style that Holbrook Jackson has here. The upshot of the matter being that the corpus or body of a book is no more than a design to an end, and that the end is the convenient presentation of its essence or authorship to a reader. Decoration, rich trappings, or other ornamentation may be added for delight or homage or even vanity, as I shall show, but they are tolerable only in so far as they hold no check upon the purpose of a book, which is to be read. And now to our theme. And that is the end of that section. The next section is titled Of Size and Convenience, and that will be a significantly longer one. Let's see, going for 1, 2, 3, almost 4 pages, 3 3/4 pages there, beginning on the end of page 42 and continuing on just to the top of page 46 there. But that will be for next time. I hope you enjoyed today's video.